Any public comment? No.
No hands raised.
What, this one?
She said no hands raised.
Okay. Okay, how about communication? I'm not aware of any communication. Is anybody else aware of communication?
No, there is one thing that was asked in passing of me is just the Skagit Beach speed table going back out. We intend on keeping that out over the next few weeks unless there was any communication whether we shouldn't. Last summer, we had relocated it to be further away from some of the residents there, so we didn't get the noise complaints that we had been getting. So we planned on putting it back in that spot before, and I think Chief had said it had been effective in slowing down vehicles, so our intention is to put it back out.
And basically, you take it out during the off-season simply because there's just not enough traffic going down there?
It's more for snow operations. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
that in.
All righty.
The signs, can you put signs up for that bump too, for the speed
Yeah,
bump?
we take signs.
'Cause I see the
warning
poster
signs
there,
in and
yeah.
out
Yep.
For that as well.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the next item is the warrant article discussion. And I had a few questions on that. First of all, is it a single warrant? It's Article 24, but there seem to be two motions, M1 and M2.
I think that group that it's in will go in as, will be one vote, similar to how the survey was done before.
Uh-huh.
And then I think they'd separate it out beyond that.
What do you mean, it's separated on, beyond that?
If you look below, so I think they'll vote on, 24-1, then 24-2, so
These will be separate votes under a single article,
I think it'll be,
my understanding.
yeah.
That is? Right.
One looks like it's vehicles and equipment, and the
Yeah.
other looks like it's buildings and facilities.
Yeah, no, they're different in that sense.
Yeah.
But
But they both, do they both require a majority, just a majority vote, right?
My understanding is
From free cash.
ours in free cash will be a simple majority.
What is it, but someplace it says, I thought it says something about tax levy.
I think there's, maybe something.
Yeah, on our item, well, some of the others. Down at page 73, when they talk about it more.
Page 73.
Yeah.
73, it references, in the article, it references on page 73, Article L.
Yeah,
So, if you look at page 73 on Article L, it gives the more
more of an explanation.
explanation.
Yeah,
So if someone is at town meeting and they want to know what is included in that line item, if they look at page 73, that's where the more complex discussion is. And it says this project would fund engineering, design, planning, initial reconstruction work for Main Street to improve roadway conditions, drainage, pedestrian safety, and overall infrastructure performance. Funding would be used for survey, design development, permitting, and preparation for phased construction to support long-term roadway reconstruction and streetscape improvements. And then it says method of finance, free cash / tax levy. Is that what you meant, Peter?
yeah.
What is the tax levy? Recommended
It sa-
schedule to
It
12
says that
months.
on the one above it, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, several of them.
So Peter, if, even if it's an appropriation or free cash is a simple majority, it's a 2/3 vote for anything that incurs debt.
Okay,
This is not intended to incur debt.
so, all right. Now, I didn't know whether that would be a red flag for somebody. Well, what does that mean for our taxes, that sort of thing. But But if it's long as it's a majority and,
Right.
okay.
So do we want to have a discussion about how this will come up at town meeting and what we need to be prepared for, and if
Yeah.
someone needs to speak to it?
Yeah, I think those are all great things to consider. I think that if someone from the committee could kind of talk more towards the, you know, public need for the sidewalks and how the feedback we've gotten throughout for the project, and then I could assist with kind of the logistics of how we would go through the design process and potential construction process. I can talk about, you know, some of the impacts and how the right-of-way will work and things of that nature, if a committee member was willing to speak to the need for the project.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that, and I would think that it'd be great if Griffin would also be ready to do that.
I can
very good.
certainly reach out to Griffin. I know he's had similar discussions at town meetings before, so.
But it seemed to me, I mean, obviously the main thing is that it's promoting safety, it's getting people off the road. If they're walking, they're running, they're having kids in strollers, there are people who, what are the mechanized things that people with disabled use? Are they allowed to go on this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got all of those reasons, and also there's a commercial interest. All the commercial interest down at East Falls Church, East Orleans, for them to be able to facilitates business. There are a number of restaurants there, so I mean, people might be willing to walk down there rather than take a vehicle or anything like that. So there are interests that are involved. And as you were saying, that would be the design and so forth. It would be with community consultation. We do the design, or the VHB would do the design, and at that point, I presume we would go back and then get more community feedback to how they felt about the design. Is that correct?
Right, I think we need to make our alternative clear, that we were gonna do the on-road wide shoulders or bike lanes with the continuous sidewalk on the north side. I think that would lead in well to concerns if there was a future expansion on to Beach Road, you could still continue that sidewalk seamlessly, and your shoulders would just shrink down, so there wouldn't be an abrupt end to something like a shared use path or a buffered bike lane. So I think that's gonna be one of the major discussions that we have, is most of the feedback I think that we've experienced through talking about the Main Street sidewalks has really been focused on Beach Road.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do want to make sure we're able to, you know, focus on the Main Street project and, you know, express that we've taken that feedback into consideration when we chose this alternative.
Well, I don't know. I mean, should we, if someone raises, oh, you're just planning to run an extension out to Beach Road, do we want to basically say, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves? I mean, this project is Main Street.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a public process, there's still plenty of time for community engagement. And,
Yeah.
if the town doesn't have an appetite to continue after this, then we wouldn't continue.
Right.
One of the things that I think is going to come up is that if you have astute citizenry, which we do, they will have looked at the entire warrant, and on the warrant, they will see Main Street construction at a cost of $6 million. And my guess will be that a lot of, if there is objection, that it will be people saying, well, you're asking for 500,000, but look at what you're looking at here, you're looking at 6 million. And so we're just now approving a fire station, or have approved a fire station for about 60 million, and now can we afford looking at sidewalks? My guess is that if there's gonna be objection, that's how it's gonna come at us, do you think?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things that we can respond with is, in order to move forward with any sort of grant application or seeking funding, we need to have the community's support. So by getting the design funding, we can work towards applying for grants and other funding, and any funding that isn't used, up to 500,000, if we were to get a full grant, it would go right back into free cash. So the goal is for this project to not be town funded.
Right, but
Good,
you're
yes.
saying that, oh, this is just the beginning, and there's this other big.
That's, you know, if I can think of the way other town meeting things have gone, that's what will be. I mean, that, someone isn't gonna look just at this, they're gonna say, oh, look at this, you're not just asking for this for design.
Now,
You're gonna be,
where is that 6 million you're talking about?
it's in the CIP.
Oh, I
It's
see.
in-
Oh, yeah.
It's in the CIP, it shows it in 2031, I believe, right now is where it's shown. But there is a $6 million amount in the CIP for the actual construction.
Right.
And to my way of thinking, what we've got to be prepared for is that if there is objection, that's where it's going to come up. It's going to be not so much for this as what this implicates down the road.
And we're basically implicitly committing ourselves.
We really aren't, and we have to make that
Yeah,
clear.
right.
That this is, you know, it's design and engineering work, and then it will be up to the town if they want to move forward.
Right.
So we are not committing to that, no.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we cannot, I don't believe that we can say that VHB will do the design, because this will have to be by
Oh,
a
right.
contract that is then awarded, right? And we cannot state, am
Yeah,
I
who gets it?
wrong?
I don't think that's part of the warrant article, the vendor. The vendor comes
Vendor,
later.
The
okay,
vendor,
yeah,
yes.
that's.
Whether you're going to
You can't-
fund the work is the decision today.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And this is completely distinct from Beach Road. My understanding is, will Rich Waldo speak to this, or are you going to? Rich is the presenter, I think, or the,
Yeah, so I think Rich will be up there.
yeah, I have a comfort level that Rich will put this in its proper light, so that people will understand what it is and what it is not. And if somebody wants to tie it into Beach Road, all you can do is say, this is not about Beach Road, because it's not in the warrant, that's all.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So who will, it will probably be then Rich Waldo, I mean, with these grouped warrant articles, it's fuzzy to me as to who presents them.
Peter, may I ask Meph, since he's right in the middle of this? Meph, we had a short discussion that Article 24, which has 4 motions, there'd be separate motions and separate votes under Article 24.
Which article is 24?
I'm sorry, that's the capital budget, and it's got some vehicle and equipment, building and facilities, so there'll be separate votes for each of those categories. Yeah.
When you say each of the categories, the 2 categories, or all of them through?
There's more. I just,
There's a motion for vehicles and equipment, for buildings and facilities, for the special revenue funds and enterprise funds separately.
Right, okay. But not separate votes on
A through F. would
each
be
line
there.
item.
each line item.
No, but certainly anyone on the floor can stand up and say they want to talk about an item that they don't believe should or shouldn't be funded.
And they can go for a vote?
They could,
Move it.
an amendment could be introduced, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So who will be introducing these motions or reading these? Who is it that is going to read the motion?
The motions are essentially usually read by a select board member.
Right.
The motion is made, and then a staff member, in this case Rich Waldo, would speak to the article
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
and answer, respond to questions if necessary.
okay.
Okay.
So we really wouldn't have to have anyone in the committee involved unless questions come up, and then a committee member wanted to answer some of the questions
Yes, voluntarily, right?
voluntarily.
But, you know, I think this discussion is really helpful to go through the potential tripping points or opposition that may come on this article of Main Street, because this board's been working on it. And to kind of have some answers prepared in advance on those things and stand up if needed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, written out,
yeah.
yeah.
Always written out at a town meeting. There's something about staring at 600 people that makes your mind go kind of numb.
Yeah,
I think one of the things we wanted was, you know, if it was being presented, was for a committee member to be able to speak on it, and then DPW would be able to support any construction or logistical questions. You know, DPW will definitely be assisting and seeing the project through if it were to happen, but it's not a project on behalf of DPW, it's on behalf of the committee, so. It'd be nice if there was someone ready to introduce it.
Yeah, one of the things I was wondering is, back in, was it August or September, that we did the community meeting where we had Main Street marked out and had a community meeting to address Main Street. And on that, Griffin was really at the forefront
Yeah.
of marking it out and doing that. And I think it would be excellent to line him up to be prepared to speak to that we have come to the community in the past, this is what we did, we had a community meeting, we staked it out, showed you what some things were, and in the future, nothing will be done until we get that community input before we go forward with anything, so there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for that. But I think Griffin would be someone who would be really good to address that, because he
Yeah.
was very intricately involved in how all of that went.
yeah,
So let's make sure we
okay,
get Griffin up there.
okay. You want me to contact him?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
That is up to the podium.
Let's see, what else? Oh, George, I just want to make sure I understand.
Sure.
This is a town-owned right-of-way? Is that what it's,
Yes, the town owns the property on which Main Street sits.
and how did, and it's since the 1980s. How did that happen? So does that mean it was laid out at that point?
Yeah, the town meeting accepted a layout, and the selectmen at the time had the layout recorded at the Registry of Deeds. We own it.
Okay.
The town of Orleans owns it. Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure I understood what that term meant.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. What else on that?
Nev has a question.
Oh, sorry, Meff.
Oh, hi, Peter. I just wanted to jump in on the place for this committee at town meeting. And I do think that you should designate a spokesperson to be like at the head of the line to talk after Rich Waldo is done. And I think one of the things that's important information to have is the process and time that's already been spent on this, and also involving people in Orleans. So there's been a lot of opportunities already for the public to learn about what this is and to express their opinions. But that's, I think, a really important thing, because for a lot of people, they'll come in, they'll read the warrant, and it'll be the first time they ever have known that it was going on.
Right.
There's some information in the slideshow I shared from Josh on some of the timeline. I think it went back to 2019. And then this was at the top of the Complete Streets Prioritization Plan that the town voted on, so. I mean, it's been out there, so it is a good point. I mean, it has a long history of getting to this point.
Right. Yeah, so the way it will flow then is that it will be read by a select person. Will you be the one, Meff?
We haven't been assigned our warrant article,
Okay,
but I'll know by Wednesday.
okay. And then after Meph reads it, then Rich Waldo will be the one, but he will be speaking not just to this, he will be speaking to all 4 of the categories. And it hasn't been decided yet. Well, each
I think that
category will
there's
be
different
introduced, right?
Items within each category that people are designated to speak about.
Yeah, there'll be 6 different motions, so after each motion, there'll be an opportunity for public discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
And then when it comes to this, then we will have Griffin be the one who will be speaking for the committee. And will speak to what the history has been and how much community input we have received. And then maybe a couple of us also would be ready to speak if there is a lot of objection or questions with what our process has been.
Sure.
Alice?
Yeah, I think you guys are on the right track for sure, sort of recounting how this has gone on for the last 6 years, starting with the various community input that went into the Complete Streets plan. And also, I think, you know, as Calvin said, that the design is going to be critical for any kind of grant funding. So those points, I think, need to be clearly made. And the other thing that I was going to say is there is always an aversion to change, right? But with this project, this is not really new. It's kind of remaking things that are out there that never amounted to a consistent sidewalk opportunity. You know, it's not like this has never been any sidewalk on Main Street, right? There's been spots of sidewalk, not really connected. So I think that might be an important thing to kind of keep in mind too, that we're not remaking Main Street, just trying to take what's there and make it better. And also, as George noted, the other aversion has been to any possibility of taking private land. That's
Right.
not an issue. So if you kind of anticipate what in the past people have had problems with, and I think this committee has done a good job in answering those questions, just need to synthesize it together so you can remind them.
So wait, when was Complete Streets voted by the town?
June of
The
2021, I think.
policy was approved, I believe, in January of 2023 or 24. I can send you that if you need it, Peter.
Okay,
But there was a policy that was approved by the board, and then the prioritization plan was completed in maybe 24, 23.
I think it was
thought it was
2020.
Was it 2020? Oh, boy, we're getting old fast, aren't we?
okay.
Yeah, if you need any of those dates, though, Peter, I'm happy to send them.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great, Alice, if you would.
Yeah.
To Alice's point, in most areas where there is a sidewalk, the total width of the paved area is only gonna expand by 4 feet. So
Okay.
I think putting that into context for people will help. I mean, this is really that's it.
Yeah.
Overall width. 2 feet per shoulder.
Yeah, that's good, Calvin.
Meth?
I just sort of, to pick on what Alice was saying, the term that the town has gotten used to, I think, over the last 5 or 10 years with capital projects is shovel-ready. And the point is to get projects to a shovel-ready point, because that's what opens the possibilities of grant funds. And doesn't mean that, I mean, this could be shovel-ready for 10 years. But until you get to it being shovel-ready, you're not going to be able to ask anybody for anything.
Right.
Now, one of the other things that always seems to come up in objection to anything with the roads is the trees. And that's always something that it's going to be, we're going to ruin Main Street, even if we go 4 feet, we could take trees. So I don't know how we go about expressing the fact that what we're doing is we're trying to have as little taking of trees or space that is currently like walls, anything that is historically significant and is iconic to the town. we're trying in this design to minimize touching any of that. And because just every time we have a discussion, that's always someone gets concerned about how many trees are gonna come down. And now you're gonna take all this oxygen out of the air, and not that many people are gonna be using it, and the exchange isn't that good, and you're gonna, so it's something that we need to at least be ready to explain.
Right. Calvin, what did, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what you said about the width here.
So the current condition out there is 3-foot shoulders, 11-foot travel lanes, and 5-foot sidewalk. In order to have a bike lane on each side, we just need 5-foot shoulders, the same 11-foot bike lanes, and then the 5-foot sidewalk, which is present in some locations, would just be continuous. So in many areas, the overall width is gonna be pretty minimal. Where you'll see the impact is where there isn't currently a sidewalk along the cemetery, where we're gonna have some challenging grades. And, up past, I guess from the cemetery up through towards like the Great Oak area where there's some brick sidewalks existing.
Right.
So this is definitely the least impactful alternative that we reviewed by far.
But I thought we're not doing a bike lane.
It will be on road, so
Oh,
it'll
okay.
just be, wider shoulders.
Wider shoulder.
with-
Wider shoulder, not necessarily 5 foot, right?
Oh,
In some
It'll be-
places.
oh, okay.
I think the shoulders can be continuous 5 feet. I think where we might be able to shrink down in some areas is the sidewalk can shrink down to, I think, 42 inches, as long as you have 200 passings, area to pass every 200 feet. So around some of the utilities and things like that, we might shrink down
Right,
in some locations.
okay.
All of that will come out in the design.
Yeah,
Right.
because it was never my understanding that we were going to have the full 5-foot shoulders all the length of Main Street. It was my understanding that the 5-foot shoulder was the thing that there was some give to, that in some places
Right.
it would be 5 foot, but in order to accommodate a nice wide sidewalk, there may be some places where the 5-foot shoulder would only be 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah, it's
Right.
definitely something that can come out in design. I can say if we can have continuous 5-foot bike lanes, we'd probably have higher scores for funding opportunities. So,
Yeah.
and all things to consider.
Mhm.
Okay.
I wrote like a little spiel I'll share with you guys, has a little bit of the history and the impacts and things like that.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, anything else, though, on this subject? Okay,
Now, it's too late now. I mean, I want to say thank you to Calvin and to Rich and George and anyone else who was involved in getting this at this May town meeting under this, because I was afraid we weren't going to be addressing this until November, and then that was going to make us a really short time frame to be able, so that we wouldn't be able to go for any funding for quite some time. So to have it in the May town meeting, that would mean that the funding then becomes available if it passes. Funding then becomes available on July 1st, right?
right. It's for the upcoming
So,
fiscal year.
let's say it does become approved at town meeting. Can you start working with a vendor right after town meeting, or can you not start working with a vendor until that July 1st date?
I think we'd have to wait till July 1st, and I think because of the design and project cost, it would have to go out to bid.
Yeah.
But you can do an
So we-
RFP before that, right?
You
So
can't
that-
contract until July 1.
Yeah,
But, so you, repeat that, George?
You cannot enter into a contract until you have money available.
Okay, but you can put out a bid once town meeting, so if it is approved on May 11th, you could immediately start working on putting something out to bid.
Request for
And
bid.
and you can award it by July 1. Okay. All right, now, one of the things at the last meeting that we discussed was the crunch points that are on Main Street. And we talked about the cemetery being one, the hedges being one, and the whole downtown section.
Yep.
And so I thought, Calvin, in one of the messages that I saw from you, that we were hoping to be able to have some discussion of those crunch points now, but I thought from what you, I don't know if
Yeah,
you
it's just-
stated it or implicated it, that that really can't be done until you get to a design and engineering standpoint. Is that right?
It's just something we've already exhausted our current contract.
Yeah,
And to
that's-
enter into something new when we're going for funding, in 2 weeks, or now a week.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a conversation that,
Sure, I understand that, yeah, because it was a reduced cost of what you did to get that survey, so, yeah.
but that's all stuff that would come out in design. It's all stuff that we've considered. We're aware of it. So I think that's all information we can share, that we know that there's grade impacts on places. There's definitely been encroachment into that right of way that we'll have to deal with. Like you're talking about the hedges, those are well within the right of way. Obviously, we would have to work with homeowners to give them, to restore them in a way that they're happy with, but we do have the right to use that area.
So the other point that I think could be something, in addition to the trees, and it could be that the historic impact on Main Street, and that there are so many historic homes that are on Main Street, and a lot of them are fairly close to the road. And I think a big concern is going to be if you start taking the frontage of some of these historic homes, how is that going to impact the historic look of Main Street? I just see that as one of the objections that those are the two things that usually come up, is, the historic look of it and the trees. And I just see that as being two things that are going to be points of contention. So, we need to be ready with an answer for that, of how we are going to try to minimize.
Yeah, so the design, for the most part, holds that north boundary, which has a lot of the historic homes on that side.
Right.
So I think in many areas will be not so impacted. I think one of the more historic things we really need to worry about is the cemetery.
Okay.
And maybe the Tonsit intersection, how that gets sorted out, if it gets shifted at all. But as far as a lot of the homes and their property, I think that sidewalk isn't gonna move much further in, towards their homes.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think we basically need to just make sure that we emphasize, we're well aware of that, and we want to design this so that those sorts of impacts are minimized. Okay, any other thoughts on this? Okay, thank you. Okay, then, there is, well, Griffin isn't here to talk about the CCRT interchange on West Road. So I guess we have to put that off, huh?
Okay.
Or is that's not, is that something that you guys are working on?
No, he was gonna touch base with someone from
Yeah,
Cape Cod Commission.
Okay.
right,
I'll put it on the June agenda.
yeah. Okay, all right, now we get to the, the question of the new different 4-foot share road signs. And so you have very usefully, helpfully, first of all, outlined what is acceptable by the state these days, and when they are to be used, how they're to be used, and you've given us some photographs here, some of where some are up, the old ones, and that those would be replaced. So you want to talk about that, including, I guess we need to talk about what is the price of doing these? And so do we set priorities? If we can't do all of them the first year, who pays for the signs? It's DPW, or do we get them from the state, or how does that work?
There was a window where the state was doing a
Yeah, I thought you said, but
free
that's,
free signage, but that's has passed, and the town didn't participate at that time. So they would be coming out of DPW budget.
you have any idea how much?
So we recently ordered 10 of them after our last meeting to start sprinkling them in.
Okay,
They're not expensive. I mean, maybe they're $100 a sign. So it's just getting the time to put them together and get them out there.
Calvin, you ordered 10 of what? You ordered 10 signs, you said?
Yes.
Of what? Which ones? The 4-foot?
Yeah, the 4-foot.
Cool.
4-foot clearance, correct?
voters give 4 feet to pass?
The second one.
The second one, 4 feet minimum clearance to pass.
Is that the one you recommend that we go with? Because we should try to standardize some of our signs
Yeah.
over time here.
Well, perhaps, maybe if I can
Yeah.
elaborate. So what I tried to do is get as much factual information, current information, and then kind of put all this together. I reached out to Mass Bikes, who was very helpful. They connected me with Sam Hawkins. He's the sign person in our district from Mass DOT. There were several emails back and forth. I tried to kind of cut and paste and put some pictures in there to kind of articulate things, but I did not change the text at all. This is his verbiage. The first sign is the one that you see on the many neighboring town roads. And as Calvin said, those were the first ones that came out in 2023. They were free from DOT. And earlier this year, they were superseded by the second one. So the second sign, 4 feet minimum clearance to pass, those are the official signs that should be posted. And Calvin, if you ordered, I'm not sure if that's probably what you ordered. I don't think you can order the first one.
To be honest, I haven't seen them come
Okay.
in yet, so
But you order them from the state, I assume. Is that where they get them, or no?
no, we get them through a sign vendor.
Oh, okay,
Oh, so maybe the vendor's still selling them? I don't know.
okay.
But the last sentence on the first sign, the first sign can be in place until the end of their service life. So if you did get the old ones, they're still kosher and shouldn't have a problem. The third sign is used when there's no adjacent bicycle lanes or usable shoulders, when it's much more tight. And in addition to communicating with Sam Hawkins, Bob and I have had a number of conversations. We reviewed this document, a lot of thoughts as we were riding on the rail trail. We both drove around and took the pictures and everything. So he's my partner in crime with some of this. Bob, please pipe in if you have any comments. But for the full use lane, we were thinking of downtown around Watson's, where it's tight. You don't want a car giving you 4 feet. The bikes really need to take the full lane. Skakit is another, by the beach, is another one where a bike should really be full lane, and those were the two areas we really felt we should probably be using those signs.
I'd also add, those are areas where a biker is traveling as fast as a vehicle in many cases. You know, on Main Street, you're going like 15, cars are going 15 miles an hour, the biker's going 15 miles an hour at best, you know, ideally. So you're not really holding up traffic by a biker taking the full lane, you know what I mean? So,
And the full-lane signs, Mass DOT doesn't put them on state highways, but, town's discretion if we want to post them, which is fine. For those that really love the share the road signs, Mass DOT concurs that we can remove or replace them. If we really loved it, instead of having share the road, we could have in-road. But it's really not ideal. I forgot to say, I also had a great conversation with Chief McDonald on this document and wanted to make sure that anything we did wouldn't, if he had any objections to it, or it would affect law enforcement at all. He's not here, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he had no objections, and if he wanted to follow up when he's here, that's fine, but I did speak with him as well. I asked the DOT person about the bicycles keep single line, which are out by Rock Harbor. It's not a standard sign. And I kind of highlighted riding formation instructions for cyclists are regulatory in nature and would therefore be best conveyed with a black and white sign if we were going to have such a sign. So this is really a non-conforming sign. It's a little out of scope, but I had to put this in here. The bike route signs in particular, the ones by Skakit Beach, they're wayfinding, they're not rules or warnings. And in particular, the section right by Skakit Beach, we have 4 bike route signs, 2 slow signs, 1 children's sign, 1 share the road, and 1 stop ahead. We have lots of signs there.
Yeah.
Some thoughts of maybe replacing some of the bike route with the new 4-foot clearance. And then this is a little out of scope, but I also wanted to throw out sharrows. And in the future, we do have them on 6A and Main Street right in downtown. Perhaps there's, down the road, some possibility of intermixing them in the future. But I just wanted to toss out, here's some information about when and where to use sharrows. I also put in Mass Bike's language on riders on bikes are allowed to ride 2 abreast as long as they don't impede traffic. And the second paragraph is the actual law as well. So those green signs actually kind of contradict the law, and technically riders can go 2 abreast. So basically the goals that I had here, really looking at the 2 main corridors for bike riding in Orleans, Beach Road to Maine to Rock Harbor, and then West Road to Skakit Road. Those are the 2 areas of concern. That's where we really kind of focused on, with the goal, raising the awareness and aligning with the vulnerable road user law that came out in 2023, posting some signs, and also, Calvin, recognizing the labor, the cost to put these in. Do we swap out signs and use the existing signposts? The chief had also talked about, phases. Perhaps we don't do all of it at once, whether it's a budgetary or a labor situation. So that's something we could certainly talk about as well. I think there's an educational component on these signs in the vulnerable user law, whether it's the town website or social media as well. So once we put the signs up, I think that, and the chief also agreed that would be a good thing. And some future things to kind of toss out there, but it's not in this here. Some potential other areas that we don't have share the road, but do we put the 4-foot clearance? Monument, Eldridge, Tonsett, Brick Hill, potentially some others. I mentioned the sharrows, and the chief had commented about other signs, and perhaps there's some other signs that would be better if it was a 4-foot clearance instead. So I just wanted to toss that out there, that there could be some potential.
some, I think pictures worth 1,000 words. We were parked in the road right by Nauset Beach. These white signs here are the back of the parking area, and the share the road sign. The only ones that are seeing this are the people that are dropping off people at the beach and turning around. This is the only one that we're suggesting relocating the pole, having it so it's on the other side of the parking, so that most of the people that are parking their car are then going to see the new sign. To the left here, this is Rock Harbor heading towards town. This is Route 6 right here, and these are some old signs. And also, this is the one section where we have a good shoulder. So you probably don't want any sign here. This is good. On the right, this sign is faded. This is about 50 yards on Rock Harbor as you're heading towards Eastham, right north of Captain Cass, and it's 50 yards right after a share the road sign. So this is one that I had suggested maybe we eliminate. This is Rock Harbor right after crossing Route 6, and you can see how it's blocking here. So I think we need one, not two here. And then the Skakit Road that I mentioned before, this is kind of in the middle of the road, and this is a share the road, and this is a bike route. So I'm thinking that we have one. I don't think we need two. This is on West Road heading towards the rail trail, Salty Ridge. This yellow sign here is the crosswalk sign, and this is an old share the road, so you can see it's far enough away from the bike crossing sign. Turning around in the other direction, the intersection of West to Skakit, you have the wayfinding sign right here. You got a speed limit, and then you got the bike route sign. And this is the one I'm thinking would be good to have the bikes are allowed to use the full lane. And then this is kind of a list of all of the various signs where the yellow is the share the road. The green is the bikes use single lane, and the pink is the exception that rule the bike route. And some I'm suggesting replace with the 4-foot clearance. Some full use of lanes, and in some cases we remove. Calvin, not sure about 6A and 28, and if that's,
Those would have to be done by the state.
Yeah.
That's their jurisdiction, so.
yeah. What's interesting is the single file, they're all clustered all around Rock Harbor. So from a consistency standpoint, why there and not in other parts of the town? And I guess over time, if anyone has any history, they're kind of dated, but at some point, someone was concerned, and rightfully so, that there's a lot of bikes going on those roads.
It's a designated bike route, and it's a private way, or it's not a laid-out road, so there's no ability to make it any wider, so that was the response at the time.
Yeah,
Do you mind if I ask what,
of course.
how much further does this list go? Is this the 32, is this the end of it?
34.
So, and we have about half dozen removes only?
Yeah, so half dozen remove, 6 replace with full use of lane, and 22 replace the share the road with the 4-foot clearance if we go status quo. And I think there's 6 signs on 6A and 28, so that 22 would actually be, 16.
Okay, so, Meth?
That's great, by the way. The history, as I recall, is for the bike route signs, is that those predated the bike trail, because that was,
Predated the bridge.
That's what I was gonna say, it wasn't before the
I
bridge.
mean, that was the way we wanted to route bikes through Orleans. So their need is gone. So I mean, I would suggest that that's a sign you could,
But it is still a designated bike route in the town. I don't know who designated it. It must have been designated years ago.
is it the only one?
Um,
I'm just saying that,
Get
that
a
the
list
reason
of
for
all the
them being there is
designated
gone. And if we're looking for ways to get rid of some signs, those seem to be
Yeah.
candidates.
A lot of bikers do go on Rock Harbor. It's a more scenic route. The more experienced, faster riders, they tend to go 6, 7 in the morning, not the families that would go on the rail trail, but it's still
Right,
used.
but do you think they're following a sign?
No.
Alice?
If I could add, because the Pan Mass Challenge uses that route, a lot of bikers who come down here on other times know that route. So it's a very popular bike
Yes.
route. And it actually is a pretty safe route in the summer when the rail trail that goes up into that area of Eastham and Wellfleet is crowded with newbies and various, scooters and et cetera. It's a very popular route, so I would suggest we do pay attention to it, just because, as I said, because the Pan Mass Challenge goes through there, people who don't live here but come visiting, they go on that route, they know it.
I'm a 26-year PMCer. That's why I moved here. I fell in love with it, so yes. Yeah, you can see, these are all the signs, and we do want to just have the 4-foot clearance, so it's just updating the signs, but it's definitely a bike route that a lot of bikers do take.
That's a good sign for that route.
Yeah.
Just because, as Mel said, there's no shoulders and it's.
Yeah.
So what you're suggesting here is 16 signs of these new type of signs, because we can't affect the ones on 28, whatever. And Calvin, you've already ordered 10. So we're only talking a difference of 6 signs that we're not addressing, are not able to address relatively quickly?
Yeah, I think this is something we can achieve. It's definitely something we support. Obviously, we want to follow the most recent guidelines and, certainly willing to work towards making it happen. If we have areas, I am pretty sure that they got the motorist give 4 feet to pass. If we want to, go with the 4-foot minimum clearance to pass in certain areas, maybe we can work on just narrowing down where we want certain ones. I know it's on your list here, so.
Yeah, whichever ones you bought, I think if we get more, be consistent. We don't want to have 2 different versions of
Right.
that, yeah.
But if this is the most recent, we'll stick with the most recent, I think.
Okay, well, so can you set priorities on how to use the first 10? Where you're going to put them, the first 10?
Yeah, if we can work on
Sure.
that on the side.
Bob and I can put our heads together and follow up with Calvin
You
and
can take
get
a
his
ride.
input.
If you want to take a ride, we can do that.
Sure.
Can I ask you, Calvin, can you also get those allowed use of full lane signs? I think if we got 4 of them, 2 downtown, 2 by Skakit, it gives the message to people that, hey, this is, the bike can use the full
Short
lane.
sections,
I mean,
yeah.
those are 2 critical areas, I think, downtown Main Street and Skakit. So if you can get 4 to 6, maybe of those, I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
let's-
you need on each side of the road,
The allowed full use ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be a good betterment, for downtown and Skakit.
I know you said we'd, trying to recycle past signs and stuff, but if it's better to spread them out in a new format, I'd rather just do it right. So if we're hamstringed by trying to find, existing posts to put them on, then I'd rather just go through and put them in the best spots. I know there was some guidance. I think it was like, no more than 500 feet or something, or no less than 500 feet together.
separating the.
Yeah.
Bob and I will follow up with Calvin. There's a couple, ideally, if we could slide them, 100 yards, but there's some
rather
better
move 'em.
locations possibly. We just didn't want to take too much more time and the money for the posts, so it's easy versus what's the best.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I think a lot of those older signs are gonna be on like substandard posts anyways.
Okay.
I'd rather put them where we want them.
So for the minutes, what we're going to be saying is that Bob and Joel will be meeting with Calvin to prioritize which signs go where and develop a plan going forward. A question would be, of the 6 that are on the state roads, what is the process for contacting DOT and see if we can't get those more, what would the process for that be?
We can call the district and call them and see if they do. Another avenue would be to get a street access permit for us to install our own, but
Take just as long.
it would take as long, yeah, so, I mean, those,
Things that we want to talk to the state about, Route 28 and Route 68.
Yeah.
It's pretty long.
yes, maybe we could get them at one of our meetings.
I'll defer to Calvin. The priority is those 2 corridors. That's where all the bikes are. You're not seeing a lot of bikes. I mean, there's a few, and people that work in that area, certainly, but around Salty Dog and Cooks and down towards Stop and Shop, that's where the signs are.
Yeah, we can certainly attempt to get them to update those, and while we're trying to get them on those, we can work on what we can control in town.
Could we ask if you could purchase the full use lanes? Is that something that is doable?
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
doable. Yep. So if you have preference on what sign gets used where, then we'd rather go with that.
All right. Yeah, we'll follow up with Calvin. That's great.
Right. George, did you have something you were going to say?
Yeah, I think there's an excellent bit of research. Thank you for doing all the legwork on this, and
This guy
I
right
thought the way you laid it out and identified the types of signs and what's preferable and what's acceptable was really, really valuable. I don't think this has to come back to our committee again, so if you want to entertain a motion, I'd be glad to make one, Peter. I would move that we forward this recommendation to address bicycle safety signs, that we forward it to DPW for implementation with thanks to Joel and Bob for their work on it and their continued work on it.
I'd second that.
There a second?
Second. Nice
Any-
work, guys.
Discussion.
We-
Doug has his hand up.
yeah.
Oh, Doug. Doug,
You're on mute.
He's mute. You mute, Doug.
Yep, I'm just ready to vote.
what did he say?
I didn't hear.
Oh, he said he's just getting ready to vote.
Oh, just
Yeah.
get ready to vote.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
guys, for the work. Good work. Good legwork. Thank you.
Okay, so let's vote, starting with Doug.
I vote Doug Prentice, yes.
Jeff Deering, aye.
George Meservey.
Calvin Sutton, aye.
Peter Algar, aye.
Stephanie Gaskell, aye.
Joel Porton, aye.
Bob McDonald, aye.
Thank you very much, unanimous, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Great work.
that was great work.
very good.
Yeah, fabulous. Okay, moving right along. Okay, we did number 6. Oh, number 7, you have anything on that, Calvin? Scott is not here. Mill Lane update?
I think they were gonna try to get the letter sent out. Was that-
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's all ready to go, but now that I have what looks like a legitimate address, I will get it out.
yeah, so I don't think there's much more of an update over there.
I think the only other thing on Mill Lane was you were going to be contacting the condominium about removing some of the bushes that were interfering with the intersection between Beach Road and Mill Lane, where there was no line of sight. And so you and Scott were going to meet with the condominium or talk to them about that. But once again, it probably doesn't need to be on our agenda. That's just something that you and Scott were going to be doing. It was
Actually,
on- There was no resolution at the last meeting, so I put it on this.
Yeah, and you may want to wait until there's a fuller vegetation, but that's up to you.
Sure.
So I'll close this out, that is referred to Scott and Calvin, and that you will deal with it, and it won't be part of the committee agenda any longer?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other businesses? We do have to do these minutes and so
Yes,
forth,
yeah.
but anything before that?
Look, could we talk about agenda items for a future meeting? We have a number of things that we've been discussing over the last couple of months. One is the Beach Road feasibility study, and that's been almost, over a year and a half old, and we'd like to get that closed out. We were going to look for this option 3, which is just a sidewalk on one side and keeping both the sidewalk and the road within the town's existing footprint, so that there was no land taking. And so we were going to have VHB take a look at that, and we've put it off a couple of times. Did we want to see, I don't think there's anything else we'll be working on with them between now and our June meeting. Is that something we're comfortable, or do we want to push that out further, Calvin?
Well, let me see where Josh has gotten with that request. I did
Okay.
request him to, start looking at that alternative. I haven't got any feedback yet.
Okay,
So if he's ready to present it, then I'm sure
okay.
he's willing to.
You'll
but-
let me know before we put out the next meeting agenda. The next one is, it's the whole the state determines the whole safety issue, and you and Scott have been waiting for the state to get back to you. Is that anything that we should be putting
Or
on?
speed signs?
Speeding, yeah.
Yeah, I think that me and Scott should have a conversation before bringing it forward. I've reached out to the state. They've given me some feedback. And then I think me and Scott just need to talk about kind of the scope and how it would come out. We have the option of street by street or town-wide. I think that's a decision that's gonna have to come to the committee, and really get input from the town.
So,
I-
just
I-
out
I
of
see-
curiosity, did Chatham go All Town 25?
I'm not sure if Chatham did, but I know Dennis just did. And
Oh.
if you see their speed limit signs, they're kind of funky now, because their speed limit signs are now all 25, and it says, speed limit 25 town-wide unless otherwise posted on every sign now.
Oh.
So that would be a big project to swap out.
Yeah,
And then if you were to go to, 25 and 30 mile an hour thickly settled, you'd have to put more signs out, because you'd then have to sign which roads are which.
so, is that something we want to put on the June agenda, or is it something that, I'll get together with you before we post the June agenda and
Okay.
find out if it's something you want on there or not.
Okay.
If you've had a opportunity to meet with Scott about it. The next item for the future is the DPW plans for our roads. We had talked about having you and Rich talk to us about what the plans are for the upcoming millennium, no, the upcoming 5 to 10 years, what we see as what projects we're going to be highlighting. We talked about doing that. We knew we wouldn't do it in April or May because of town meeting. Do you think June, once again, could we see whether that's
We could-
something we could do with Rich, with you in June?
Yeah, we can shoot for June. I think most
Okay.
of these transportation projects are kind of outlined in the prioritization plan.
Okay,
But we can certainly
okay,
review them.
okay,
Maybe there's some updates we want to make.
great.
Yeah, on that subject, though, I just wanted to say, when the town gets to sort of going around town-wide, looking at particularly the non-laid-out roads. One of the things that I've learned over the years as I've been putting signs next to the road is that even on the roads that are not laid out, there's significant, intrusion from vegetation or lawns onto what would be the paved element. And I think trying to scrape all that back to where you can make those roads as wide as they possibly can be is a worthwhile effort.
And then
And
the,
we have the right to do that because it is,
The town owns to the edge of pavement, right?
The pavement width, yeah.
oh,
So
okay.
it's one of the things we try to do with the sweeper, but, it gets the erosion really gets pretty heavy in there. We had in some spots gone out like a skid steer and scraped some back that had come in quite a bit, but, something we definitely keep on our radar. And through the sewer project, when we were redoing, Main Street and stuff, we did find the edges of the pavement and milled, over them, so the road width was, reclaimed as wide as possible.
and then the other thing I had was, we've already discussed, and that's the Main Street crunch points, and that will have to be after July, after the contract is let for the design and engineering of Main Street. And the other thing on the whole thing about the safety and the speed limits, the reason I was bringing that up again was, we're coming up to the summer, and we know that there's going to be a lot of discussion about places like, go on the way to Nauset Beach and Nauset Heights Road, where there's always, the summertime always ends up with, people having issues with the speeding on those kinds of roads and
So-
Skagit Beach, so.
Nauset Heights in particular did request, it was a while ago, the 20-mile-an-hour advisory limits, and those have been posted, so those will be out there for this season.
Oh, great,
Ah.
great, thank you. Okay,
Okay,
that's all I
anything
had
else?
for upcoming, agenda setting.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything else they want on an
Could I-
agenda item for next month?
Could I add, when we had the public meeting on Beach Road, there was the short-term flip chart ideas, and I don't know if there's anything on that list that we should talk about to see if there is something that we can do. That was the whole intent, I believe, of trying to get some feedback of, yes, it's going to be many years before we can do, if we can do anything, but are there some shorter-term things? And I
Yeah,
think it might
Oh, yeah.
have slipped through the cracks.
okay, so those short-term ideas are in the minutes for that February 3rd meeting. So maybe I'll look at those and see if there's any that we can discuss at
Yeah,
the next meeting.
exactly. Are there some
Okay,
things
the
to discuss?
short-term,
Right.
Okay. Short-term cures for
Right.
speeding on Beach Road.
And when,
All right.
and when Bob and I talked with Calvin, I think there's another outstanding thing, the bike route signs by, was it Overland? We had talked about in the winter, and there was the storm and everything. So depending on DCR's time, I know they've been crazy busy clearing trees, but see if we can get them to post, they had said they would post some signs on that road. So we'll follow up with Calvin. I'm not sure we
Okay.
need to have it on the minute, but I just want to mention that's another thing that was out there that
Okay.
it's a loose end that we'll try to tie up.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Then we have a number of minutes to approve, and starting with, let's see, February 3rd, which was the one that we had out here, I think, on Beach Road, huh? For the
Right.
sort of public discussion.
It was the public meeting.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that far back.
Mhm.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody want to make a motion to accept those minutes?
Come on, somebody.
I'll make a motion. Accept the minutes.
I second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? No. Okay, we have to go through the voting. Doug?
Doug, yes.
Jeff Deering, I'm going to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Okay.
George Meserve, aye.
Calvin Sutton, aye.
Peter Alger, aye?
Stephanie Gaskell, aye.
Joel Porton, aye.
Bob McDonald, aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. And the next one is our meeting of March the 2nd. Is there any,
Move approval.
Second.
oh, okay, so now, any question, any debate? No. Doug, you want to start?
Doug Prentice, aye.
Jeff Deering, aye.
George Meserve, aye.
Calvin Sutton, aye.
Peter Alger, aye?
Stephanie Gaskell, aye.
Joel Porton, aye.
Bob McDonald, aye.
Okay, thank you, passed unanimously. And then the last one is our previous meeting, April 6th. The draft meeting minutes have been circulated.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
okay, any discussion? No. Doug?
Doug Prentice, aye.
Jeff Deering abstain.
Okay.
George Meserve, aye.
Calvin Sutton, aye.
Peter Alger, aye?
Stephanie Gaskell, aye.
Joel Porton, aye.
Bob McDonald, aye.
Okay, thank you. At least we're now up to date.
Thank you.
Okay. Any?
Thank you.
Okay, adjournment? Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I doubt it. Okay. Doug?
Aye.
Jeff
Doug
Deering,
Prentice,
aye.
George Meserve, aye.
Calvin Sutton, aye.
Peter Alger, aye?
Stephanie Gaskell, aye.
Joel Porton, aye.
Bob McDonald, aye.